Our next slammers were born and raised here in Norfolk until they moved to Charlottesville in 2016. We hated that. They left. It was all their mother Helen's fault. She used to be a 4Kids board member until she got kicked off. Both these kids attended Williams School in Ghent, and they grew up enjoying all the cultural and culinary things that Norfolk has to offer. The boys love playing soccer, basketball, skiing. Most of all, they enjoy spending time with their friends, whether it's here in Norfolk or now in Charlottesville.
They like their Norfolk friends better.
Goes without saying, right? Their story is true meaning of home. Please give it up for Tate and Elliott Kessler. Clap for these guys.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Tate, and this is my brother Elliott. We were invited to take part in this evening's proceedings by Miss Kim Fink. Both Elliott and I were born and raised here in Norfolk, and my mom served on the 4Kids board for 6 years before we moved to Charlottesville last year, but you already know that. The fact that we are here tonight is in part due to my family's love for 4Kids, in part to support one of our best family friends and one of tonight's story slammers, Jen Edwards, and is a true testimony to the fact that you may move over 100 miles away, but if Miss Kim Fink wants to find you, there is no place you can hide. When we got the call from Miss Kim, she had 1,001 ideas of how our whole family could and should participate. She ran a lot of ideas by my mom, and in the end, it was decided that we children would be sacrificed for the good of the family. And that my mom and dad would watch from the safety of the audience. Go family solidarity. I must admit, standing up in front of a room of adults is not on the top of either of our wish lists. But when we thought about why we would be doing it, in order to help kids in need, we knew we just had to bite the bullet and agree. My story tonight is simple and personal, about how this past year I learned the true meaning of home. When, a little over a year ago, my parents sat us down and told us we were going to have an adventure, I thought perhaps they had finally caved and were taking us to Disney. But that was not the case. Dad told us they had seen some land in Charlottesville and that my mom wanted to design a house and move there. My mom was always planning to remodel or convert some old building or another, so I was hoping this too would pass. Elliott and I had lived all of our lives in Norfolk. We had a really nice house, a great school, and tons of friends. I was perfectly fine with my life just where I was, and I didn't need any change. So you can imagine my shock when they told us our house had just been sold and they were going ahead with the planned adventure, whether I liked it or not. What made it worse was that Elliott defected and joined Team Charlottesville. At 9 years old, he was accepting the challenge and embracing the positive, showing his maturity and open mind. Thankfully, I was not alone in my horror at this idea. Our family leaving, okay. All of our closest family friends openly shared their disgust at the notion of our family leaving, and I hoped against hope this would be enough to stop the madness, but it wasn't. As the move date approached, I felt sick to my stomach. I would be leaving the only house I had ever known, the school I had been at since first grade, and the friends I had made there. The neighborhood I'd learned to ride my bike in, Taco Tuesdays at Palone's. But the biggest thing of all, I was going to be leaving the family friends I had known since birth, people that felt like brothers and sisters, not to mention the handful of women who had been my second moms for as long as I could remember. A few days before we were due to leave, one of these moms gave me and Elliott and the other children in our close-knit group a necklace On each was a symbol of a dog and a sundial. She told us it represented enduring friendship and loyalty which no distance could alter. It made us all feel connected and know that even though we would be apart, we still belonged together. We haven't taken them off since. Fast forward a year later, and I can safely say that other than a nervous first few days at school and the second move from our rental house to the house we built, it really hasn't been that bad. I've made a lot of new friends, and I still constantly see my old friends too. I've learned that sometimes my parents are right, and change can be good. I also understand more than ever now that home is not made of bricks or wood, but of people who you love. It's not easy being the new kid and not knowing the world around me, but I've been incredibly lucky because my move, whilst not my choice, was not a difficult one. We moved as a family with no worry about where we were going and no need to rely on the help of others. I may have been unsettled, but I always had a lovely place to live, my own bed, plenty of clothes and food, and both of my parents to help me with homework, take me to soccer or basketball or guitar lessons. I'm a very privileged kid, and although I don't always act like it, I know I'm incredibly blessed. But there are lots of children in this community who have been forced to move home again and again in their short lives. They've not always known where they were going or if they had a welcome place to stay. Many have gone without the comforts both Elliott and I took for granted. They've been the new kid at the new school all too often. They cannot rely on the support of others to help them or guide them or tell them it's going to be okay. No one is giving them a necklace, and for them, it's not an adventure at all. That's why 4Kids is so important. They offer children and their parents the help and support they need to get through their hard times, and a place where they can be safe, a place they can grow and be a family with their own warm bed, a place they can call home. I end with a quote from the late, great Leonard Cohen before Elliott plays one of Leonard Cohen's songs. Reality is one of the possibilities we cannot afford to ignore. Love is the only engine of survival. Now please give a warm welcome to Elliott, who will be performing Hallelujah.
You hear that?
I've heard that there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. Well, you don't really care for music, do ya? It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, and the major lift. The baffled king composing hallelujah. 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 Your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof, her beauty in the moonlight overthrew you. She tied you to her kitchen chair. She broke your throne and she cut your hair. And from your lips she drew the hallelujah. 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 And maybe there's a God above, but all I've ever learned from love is how to treat somebody who outdrew you. And it's not a cry that you hear at night. It's not somebody who's seen the light. It's so cold